theatre artist, voice artist, poet, scriptwriter. Lavanya Krishna is only 24 years old and she dons many hats. She is also part of Adamant Eves, which is India's first women group to perform improv shows. She is also a narrator for Amazon's Audible several books, and few of them are children's books as well. She is a poet who has written several poems and has acted in various short films. Today, we speak to this youngster to know how she dons many hats at such a young age. Welcome, Lavanya.
You have donned many hats. You're a poet, uh, you're a theater maker, you also do improv shows and
Yes,
also give voiceovers.
yes.
So I'm very curious to know how did your theater journey started and when was it?
That's actually a very interesting question because I first started doing plays in school on stage when I was in fifth standard. And
Hmm.
it began as like an excuse to get out of classwork so I could go and do something else. And I just accidentally found something that I loved so much. And
Okay.
everybody said that I was pretty good at it. And obviously, in fifth grade, you're very happy when everybody tells you that you're good at something. So I started
Right.
doing a lot more shows in school. And I decided when I was in sixth, actually, that I was going to be an actor. And everybody thought it was like a passing phase. Okay, she's a child. Every day, children have new ambitions and stuff like that. And weirdly enough, when I was in 11th and 12th, I actually had convinced myself that I wanted to do psychology further. But luckily for me, I found the perfect combination of theater, literature, and psychology at Christ in
Oh,
Bangalore.
great.
And this art batch was the first batch of TEP. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, great. This is the closest I can come to having my cake and eating it at the same time. So I
Mhm.
can do psychology, but I'll get to follow theater as well. About 2.5 or 3 weeks into college, first semester, I knew that I was just like lying to myself and everybody else. I knew that I was there for the theater, not for the psychology. So I was just like, you know
Right.
what? I'm gonna finally accept this dream and I'm going to start working towards it concretely. So my degree is actually in theater, literature, and psychology.
Oh, great.
So that's how it started.
Mm-hmm.
Professionally, of course, I've only been active for the last 4 or 5 years. Before
Mm-hmm.
that, it was all for like hobbies and passion.
So, what all plays have you been part of so far?
That's actually a really long list, especially since 2020 feels like it's gone on forever. I don't even remember, but I've done around like 10, 12 plays in
Uh-huh.
my life outside of college. Of course, in college, we had to do productions as a part of our course, obviously. But except for that, I must have done like 10, 12 plays. And
Okay.
in school, I actually started with Hindi theater.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, I realized that English theater was where I really wanted to be because I'm most comfortable in English as a language. So whether it's the plays that I read or the poetry that I write, in general, I'm just most comfortable in English. So when
Mm-hmm.
I found English and theater together, I haven't stopped since then.
So, which is that one character you always adored and you
Oh
wanted to
my goodness.
be
All
that?
my friends are going to hate that you asked that question because they've heard me talk about this forever, for
Okay.
years. So when I was a child, I my
Mhm.
grandmom gave me a book of Shakespeare plays, abridged,
Okay.
and
Mm.
I read Taming of the Shrew. And for the first time, I saw a female character in a Shakespeare play who was not, being all dainty and giggly and shy and everything. And I was just like, yes, yes,
This is
she
me.
broke a musical instrument on her teacher's head because her teacher corrected her too much. I'm not saying
Okay.
that's desirable, but then I
Uh-huh.
was just really happy to see somebody who broke completely out of the character that an Elizabethan woman is usually shown as.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
fell in love with her in that play. And in the end, of course, she realizes her mistakes and she falls in love with her husband. I don't like that part very much. Just the beginning
Okay.
part of the play when I'm just like, yes, show people that girls can also have unpleasant emotions and that it is okay. So
Right.
that I started obsessing over her when I was like a kid. And luckily for me, in my second year in college, our class got to do Taming of the Shrew, and I got to play
Mm.
her. And to this date, I think it's the one role that I can go back and play 8 million times and not get bored of it, not get tired of it, try to bring something new to it. I love it. Kate from
Great
Taming
to
of the
know
Shrew.
about it. Yeah. So, you're also a poet. I want to know at what age did you start writing poems and What do you focus on? What are your themes or subjects that you focus on especially?
All right. So I actually started writing
Hmm.
when I was a kid. I was in the US for a year, and
Oh,
my mom wanted to make sure that she knew that we were coming back and I had to rejoin the school system here. So she was parallelly making sure that
right,
all the portions that were being covered here were being covered there for me as well. So
right.
when that happened, I discovered that I really liked to write, and my mom realized that she didn't have to give me copywriting anymore. She could just ask me to write about something. So it started off as like, this, what did you do this weekend? Kind of like small, little one paragraph, two paragraph things. But I loved it. I loved how it made me feel. And people
Hmm.
read it and they said, oh, it's pretty good. And I've just been obsessed with words my whole life. So writing is
Hmm.
kind of natural to me because, as you can see, like I have no issues with talking. I love talking.
Yeah.
I love words. I love the lyrics in songs. So to be able to learn words and
Hmm.
like understand them and to be able to like manipulate them into making art or making people feel a certain way
Hmm.
is,
Hmm.
I think, a very underrated superpower in today's world.
Yeah.
And I love how it makes me feel. And in terms of themes or subjects, I don't really have themes
A
as
particular
such
subject.
because
Okay.
yeah, because when I write, I usually write to process something that's happening in my life, whether it's
Hmm.
good or it's bad. If I'm overwhelmed with feelings, if I write it out, it kind of helps me break it down and process it in a more rational, calm,
Hmm.
mature way instead of just acting very impulsively. And like over time, of course, there are some stories that are so dear to me that I've written a lot of things about that particular incident or that particular place or that particular person. But
Hmm.
in general, it's kind of exactly what's going on in my mind right now. If I write a new
Right.
poem and you read it, you'll have a rough idea of what I'm contending with in my head. So that's usually how I approach it. I don't set myself a theme
Hmm.
normally, but I do like to play around with the form. Like I like to play around with like syllable counts and things like that. So haiku, sonnets, stuff like that.
Great. You mentioned about using theater in creating mental awareness or, bringing diversity and all that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So
so
in
can
a
you tell us
corporate
more about
setup,
it?
yeah, in a corporate setup, I find that a lot of people tend to tune out when you start with a PowerPoint presentation or like an Excel
Yes.
sheet and like throw in stats and numbers. They're just like, oh my God. But then when you do a play, especially
Yeah,
because we come from outside, we don't come from within the organization. So we
true.
have the freedom to make jokes and like, poke fun at a lot of different things, which is common across the spectrum with the corporates. But it's very
Mm-hmm.
relatable for them. So when they see that happening, they tend to engage more easily and they tend to find situations that they have either seen in front of them or they themselves have
Right.
experienced. And
Mm-hmm.
that makes it a lot easier than putting a bunch of people in a room and saying, okay, all of you who feel this has to change, please raise your hand. It's a more light-hearted and interactive way of doing it.
I know. Yes.
So that's our approach to bringing theater to the corporate world.
So during the COVID times, were there any online, uh, you
There were
know,
a few sessions via Zoom,
huh,
similar setup, trying our best to adapt to the
I
new
know.
medium.
Yes.
But it
Uh,
went well, it went surprisingly well.
uh-huh. Great. And what about your voiceovers for the Amazon's Audible platform?
Okay,
Because
so that those are actually audiobooks. So
hmm,
different Amazon bestsellers that get shortlisted to be put on Amazon
hmm,
Audible, they look for narrators, and I'm one of those narrators. I
hmm.
uh, I was
But how
working.
did that happen?
One of my friends is actually his name's Kanchan. He's a really
Hmm.
good voiceover artist. He's also based in Bangalore. And because of him, I dropped off a few samples and they liked my voice.
Oh, great.
So they selected me and then I've read a few books for them.
Can you tell us the title of the books
Yeah, I'm sure there's one
so
about
that audience
Padmavati.
can?
Actually, if you search for my name, you'll find all of them. There's one
Hmm.
about Rani Padmavati. There's a romance novel. There's something about couples who've started businesses together. So it's quite a. There's also a children's book, I think, The Princess's
Right.
Quest for Knowledge or something like that. So
Okay.
it's
Okay.
quite a wide range of themes that I've covered, but they're all my
Great.
voice.
That's really great. And so, what are your future projects? If I would like to know, I mean, whether
I
it
would
is online or
love I would love to be able to give you an answer, but I mean technically this is a freelance job, so projects as and
yeah.
when they come. I'm currently working on writing a script
Mm-hmm.
for a short film, and I'm also
Okay.
working on another script that I wanted to do. This is like a pet project of mine, which I've just kind of started ideating on, which
Hmm.
talks about bipolar disorder and
Oh,
what it means to experience it. Yeah, so this is
that's
something that
awesome.
like I'm very passionate about. I'm
Hmm.
very like invested in the story and how it's shown. I don't want to make it like a spectacle,
Yeah,
like use mental health as a sensationalized topic.
I
I don't
know.
want to do that. But I also
Yes.
want to make sure that I don't, in an effort to tone it down, I don't misrepresent or inaccurately represent the struggles of somebody who suffers with that disorder. So
True.
I wanna make sure that I do my research properly, and also I'm as authentic as I can possibly be
Hmm.
by
Hmm.
telling
Hmm.
that story. So that's going
Hmm.
to take a long time because I'm going to be very
Hmm.
particular about it. But yeah, except for that, right now, still figuring life out, trying to figure out when live theater can become common again with all
I
this
know.
happening outside. I miss the feeling of being on stage in front of a live audience and taking that bow at the end of the show to signify that I am now Lavanya. I'm no longer the
Yeah.
character I'm playing. Nothing feels like that does, and I miss that rush, that feeling so much.
Yeah. We know that.
Waiting for all
So,
of that to come back. My life as a theater artist, of course, like where do you draw the line between digital theater and film? It's a very like fine line.
hmm.
So trying really hard to keep the magic of live theater alive while adapting to this medium. It's a little tricky, but I'm really inspired by a bunch of people who have worked within these limitations and so
Yes,
fast with the rest of the
I
world
know.
having not the best access to the best resources right now because your
Yep.
logistics and all that. I love how the performing art community in general, whether it's musicians or dancers, putting up reels, putting up fresh relevant content every day. I think as a theater maker, this time has been a time for a lot of inspiration and for
Hmm.
going back to ideas that I hadn't explored in a few years because I just said, oh, I'll do it when the time comes.
I would like to know, were you part of any short films earlier?
I have done one web series, but it's like
Hmm.
many, many years ago, so I don't really
Hmm.
talk
Hmm.
about it that much. But of late, I've been in more ad films than I have been in short films, really.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was one great thing that happened for me this year. I was on my first billboard ever in Electronic City.
Oh,
So it's just like,
that's good.
so that was a great milestone for me last year.
Uh,
So the first few months of experiencing this whole COVID new
COVID.
reality where the lockdown was super stringent and things like that.
Yes, yes. I would like to hear a small poem from you, written by you.
Hands that can't be held when the heaviness descends,
Hmm.
foreheads that can't be kissed when the night finally ends, pixelated puppets on uninspired strings, perceptibly lonely but hate when the phone rings. Fumbling to hold conversation, a generation learns to wait. A generation learns to question ideology, philosophy, the state. The dystopian landscape has become almost mundane. My neighbor lights a cigarette in a race against the rain. The year began and sped slowly by like an instant spanning ages. But tonight, what keeps sleep away is when did homes begin to feel like cages? Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you so
Really
much.
great.
Thank you.
So, Lavanya, it was nice talking to you.
Likewise,
And
thank you
thanks
so
for
much
spending
for
time with
like
us.
coordinating and like setting this whole thing up for me as well. I love to share my work and I love to talk to people about things. So
My
thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you.